Today's episode of Film Riot is brought to you by Full Sail University.
Hey guys, I'm Rob Krekel. I'm the sound designer and re-recording mixer for U.F.Oh Yeah. Ryan collected some questions off of Facebook for me, so I'm going to do my best to answer them for you guys. I can't really point to any one specific sound effect that I'm most proud of. Really, what I'm most proud of is actually being able to be part of such amazing teams and to be able to work with such amazing collaborators like Ryan on Proximity and U.F.Oh Yeah, and like Naughty Dog on The Last of Us and Uncharted, and many other Sony studios that I've been fortunate to work with. Those are my proudest accomplishments, working with these teams of people that work just as hard as I do, and being afforded the opportunity to really just work on these amazing games and these amazing shorts and these amazing films. That is something I'm extraordinarily proud of. I actually don't know. It's not something I keep track of. You know, there are some types of sounds that I've made in the past that are pretty heavy in terms of layers, maybe like 20, 30 layers for some crazy explosions or weird creatures. But that's too much. And something I've been learning lately, which I think is probably a good thing for most people to kind of maybe take something away from, is that you don't need 30 layers. In fact, if you're putting 30 layers in, you're not hearing all 30. What happens is you start with a bunch of sounds, you think it needs more, so you add more, and you add more, and you add more, and you add more. And by the time you're done, you're not hearing those like original 5, 10 sounds that you added. You're just hearing all the other stuff, and it's all masked. And part of learning and getting better is refining your technique. And that's really something I've been trying to do, is to refine my technique and use less layers where appropriate. And so these days I'm using a heck of a lot less. The answer is you don't have to, really. For the sound effects libraries for Triune, for the Melee in particular, we recorded a ton outside. I love recording outside. There's just something about recording outside that gives a natural sound, an atmospheric sound that you can't get from recording in a studio. We also recorded in Ryan's garage. We recorded in his living room. You don't necessarily need a studio space to record sound effects. But if you want a quieter space that's maybe less reflective than a regular room, something that you can try on the cheap is hang blankets or moving blankets or even clothing. You can hang it on the walls with nails or hangers or whatever you have. Hang it on all the walls and make sure that you have carpet. If you have hardwood floors, put carpet down. And you can get carpet scraps or remnants for really, really cheap from somewhere like Home Depot. And all that stuff will do is deaden the sound a bit. And by deaden, I mean reduce the reflectivity of the space. When you have bare walls, when a sound wave hits it, it tends to bounce off and go back in another direction. And that can create that echo effect that we're used to hearing. If you have something like carpet or a blanket or something thick, the sound wave will get absorbed as opposed to just bouncing off. You'll still get some bounce off, but it'll be far, far reduced from what you'll get on a bare wall. So that's just something to try if that's something that you're looking to get. So I actually use many different types of microphones depending on what I'm trying to record. I use shotguns, condensers, dynamics, you name it, pretty much I've used it. Depending on what it is that I'm trying to capture. Microphones are very similar to camera lenses in that you have different microphones for different types of things that you're trying to capture, very similar to a lens. And so it's very difficult for me to point to any one microphone and say that's the one you need. I will say that you will never be let down by having a good short shotgun in your arsenal. A Sennheiser MK416 or a Rode NTG3 are really good choices in that respect. They're very versatile. They can record sound effects. They can record dialogue. So that'd probably be a good 2 mics to take a look at. So whether you're a beginning sound designer or a veteran sound designer, the answer is always both. As a veteran sound designer, like, recording is something that I love to do, and it's something that I always try to do on every project that I work on because it's fun. And it's your way of adding a unique and custom recorded asset to that project. However, it is not always possible to record absolutely everything that you need for any project. And so having sound libraries is an amazing option to use to, get all the sounds that you need to cover. And there are so many amazing recordists out there who are doing amazing work. You've got Frank Bry, the recordist. You've got the Boom Library guys. You've got Tonestorm. You've got Rabbit Ears. You've got all these guys who their sole purpose in life is to record stuff for you to use. It would be really foolish not to at least listen to that stuff and see if it's valuable for you to use in your projects. So that really depends. It really depends on the project. It depends on the director. It depends on what you're trying to achieve as a sound person. Ultimately, your job is to support the story and is to support the director. The film is the director's vision, and if it's a game, it's the game director's vision. And really, you're trying to support their vision. And so sometimes that means you're making a realistic sound that sounds very much like the source of the thing making the sound. Other times you're working on fantastical creatures that there is no realistic sound for. And so you have to think outside the box and you have to just come up with something that feels right. And I think that's kind of the key takeaway is no matter what project you're working on, what you're creating needs to feel right for that project, and it needs to fit in the world that is that project. So that's really what you should be aiming for. My mixes on Proximity and U.F.Oh Yeah, as well as other films that I've worked on, are very Foley heavy. I think Foley is a layer of detail that can set smaller productions, YouTube videos, even small short indie films or feature-length films apart, because it's an extra layer of texture and believability that grounds the whole soundscape. And so I try to hit and cover everything that I can in terms of Foley. So cloth rustles and prop pickup and put downs and footsteps and shifts. And I mean, it's all the subtle sounds that make it really come alive. So that is an extraordinarily important thing to have in your mix. In terms of like whether or not it's recorded on set, most of the stuff that you're recording on set, the production sound guy's job is to get the dialogue, is to get good, clean dialogue. And so if you happen to get some sound effects or some Foley in addition to that, it's really a bonus. It's not really what their goal is. Their goal is to get the dialogue as clean as possible. And so most of the time you're really going to have to add that stuff back in. Believability and cool factor for me are very tied together. If you make something that's believable, and by believable I mean feels right for that film or that game, then it's very cool. So ultimately, it's the same thing in my book. If you're designing something just because you think it sounds good, but you're designing it completely ignorant or not thinking about the big picture, the story you're trying to convey, the vision of the director that you're working with, or the team that you're working with, then that's sort of a fail. You really want to design with all that context in mind, because ultimately you are creating a collaborative piece of art with a bunch of other people, and everyone should be supporting each other, because ultimately the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, or it should be. This is actually a really tough question because there's no one answer for microphones. I would say if you only have $200 to spend, you're probably better off buying a recorder with mics built in, something like the Zoom H4n, because there's 2 mic capsules you can record in stereo. It's good for recording lots of different things. It gives you options later to buy maybe a more expensive mic because it has XLR inputs on it. That might be something that is good to begin with. But in terms of like a $200 mic that's going to do everything, that's really difficult for me to say. Most mics at that level are going to be very sort of specific for what their intention is, and it's probably not going to be the best quality. So yeah, I say a recorder with mics attached to it might be your best option. All right, guys, thanks for all the questions. Hopefully the answers were useful to you guys. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Rob Krekel, ROBKREKEL. And good luck. See you next time.
Hey! If you dream of becoming a filmmaker, Full Sail University has degree programs to help you achieve that goal, including the on-campus film bachelor degree program. Throughout the film's bachelor degree program, you're going to learn the filmmaking process from start to finish on a campus that houses the technology and resources that you need. In the online digital cinematography bachelor program, you're going to learn what it takes to write, shoot, and edit your own films. Online students receive a technology package that includes a professional level digital video camera. Full Sail is also excited to announce the new film production master's degree program designed to give you an advanced education in the behind-the-scenes aspect of filmmaking. Full Sail grads have worked on films including Hunger Games, Gravity, and film Riot, since myself and Stark both went there. Full Sail University also offers a variety of campus and online degrees in fields related to the entertainment and media industry. Visit fullsail.edu/Film Riot to learn more. So that's it for today. Big thank you to everyone who sent in a question and to Rob for answering those questions. And if you want to follow any of the filmmakers involved with the making of U.F.Oh Yeah, check the notes section below. We have links for all the companies that help make this whole project happen as well. And this marks the last episode of U.F.Oh Yeah. We are done with the month of April and U.F.Oh Yeah goodness, even though we are already into May. But I will see you guys next time when we kick it off with Seth Worley's latest short film and a whole month of how we made it.